JT. So here's the car we're going to be test driving today. Just a couple of features that I want to show you before we go. The first is going to be the eyesight system that I talked about. So those are these two cameras up inside there. Remember how I explained that earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the main thing. I'm going to start driving to demonstrate that system, and also because it turns out that somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% of collisions that happen during a test drive happen in the first couple of minutes because the customer is still getting used to the car. So I'll get us off of the lot and I'll show you that, and then we'll switch over and you'll be able to do your own test drive.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Go ahead and hop in. All right, so here is the eyesight system. Again, two cameras that look forward. So what they'll provide is emergency brake assistance and throttle management, as well as adaptive cruise control. And what I'm going to do is pull up to the exit of the parking lot, and I'll wait for another car to go by. And when it does, I'm going to speed up really fast behind it, and we'll set the cruise control so you can see how that adaptive cruise and the automatic braking is going to work.
Okay.
And hopefully somebody comes by quickly. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. So I speed up behind them, and then I'm going to set the cruise control for about 65 miles an hour. And you'll notice as we get behind the car in front of us, we're going to automatically be slowing down as they slow down as well, or just kind of matching the speed. Up ahead, they're going to go around a curve and presumably are going to apply brakes when they go around the curve. When that happens, you can feel that we're braking as well. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
All right, we're going to get a little bit closer here again. That car is going to come to a full stop because there's a stop sign. And we will also come to a full stop. Now, through that entire process, right up until the very end, I didn't put my foot on the brake.
Oh, wow.
Spin around here. So that was the car automatically slowing itself down.
And that uses the eyesight system.
That uses the eyesight system. Again, because it's two cameras, it gives the car depth perception. So it can see not only how far in front of us another vehicle is, but what the rate of closure of that other vehicle is.
Yeah.
Now, I don't recommend using that when you're just driving on city streets. I was solely doing it for demonstration purposes. The only other way to really demonstrate is to go really, really fast into something and let it kick in on its own. I don't intend to do that.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that we'll be doing on the test drive. In a few minutes we'll switch over so you're driving. We've got a couple of different road conditions that we're going to use, regular city driving as well as highway. I've even got a country road mixed into it as well. And I want to give you a sense for overall how the car is going to behave, how it's going to fit for you, make sure that it's a good fit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then what are these two buttons here?
Those are for the eyesight system. This one here will disable the forward collision aspect, and this one will disable the lane departure part of it.
Okay.
In most cases, you don't want to do that, obviously, but there are times if you're towing the car or if the lane departure really annoys you, there are times that you would end up using that.
Okay.
Other questions that you have?
So with the screen here, does it come with, how do I get to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto?
That's going to be under the app button here.
Okay.
So that'll show you both the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto. Neither of them will be active until you've actually plugged a phone into the USB port down below.
Okay. Does it have Bluetooth though?
It does have Bluetooth, but it doesn't connect to the phone, to the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto via Bluetooth.
Okay.
That you can do currently on the Legacies and the Outbacks, but not yet on the Forester.
Okay. But can I still play music just from my phone?
Yes.
Okay. And then all physical HVAC buttons down here?
Correct.
Okay. And then what is the X mode button down here?
The X mode changes the driving characteristics of the traction control system. Most traction control systems, different models will have, or different vehicles, different brands will have different controls. With this, it's off, on, and in between. So when it's on, the traction control system works normally. When it's off, and there's cases where you'll want to do that, it gives full power to all four wheels. But there are also times when you want power to be going to all four wheels, but you still want it to be able to adjust how much power. So with the X mode on, that's going to give no less than 50% power to any of the wheels, but still allow them all to be operating.
Okay.
We're going to pull in here, and this is where we'll turn over to you driving.
Perfect.
The last thing I'd like to show people before they take over is, despite the fact that this is an SUV and despite the fact it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, the turning radius on these cars is just amazing. Subaru starts by building a all-wheel drive system and then puts a car on top of it.
Okay.
Most manufacturers will start with the car and then try to stuff an all-wheel drive system into it.
Right.
So watch this turning radius.
Oh, wow.
Very, very tight.
Yeah.
All right, it's your turn.
Perfect.
Hop on out and I'll show you where the controls are to adjust the seat. So right down below here, this lever will push the seat forward and back as well as up and down.
Okay.
This one adjusts the backrest, and then this is for lumbar support.
Okay.
To adjust the mirrors, left mirror twist and operate like a joystick. Right mirror twist to the right, same thing. Get yourself comfortable and I'll hop in the other side.
Awesome. So what's different between this all-wheel drive system compared to like a Honda or a Toyota?
Great question. This is a symmetrical all-wheel drive system. We can go ahead and get started as you're, or whenever you're ready. Symmetrical means you have the same amount of power going to all four wheels all of the time. So most all-wheel drive systems will turn left here, and then when we come out of the parking lot, we're going to turn right at the stop sign.
Okay.
Most all-wheel drive systems will be, they're not truly all-wheel drive. They're front-wheel drive with rear wheels that can engage if necessary. So basically you're driving along in front-wheel drive. When the car notices that it's starting to slip, it'll engage the rear wheels to give you a little bit more stability.
Okay.
And when it does that, in most cases you still have roughly 60% of the power going to the front and 40% of the power going to the back. So
Okay.
it still behaves like a front-wheel drive car, but with a little extra stability from the back.
Okay.
Subaru's is an even system. They have the same amount of power going front to back. It's actually 51% to the front, 49% to the back.
Okay.
We'll turn left here. What that means is that it's operating like a front-wheel drive car and like a rear-wheel drive car at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's some times when front-wheel drive is actually better in some circumstances, rear-wheel drive is better in some circumstances.
Yeah.
This is both. The second reason it's different is because it's symmetrical left to right.
Okay.
So you have on most all-wheel drive vehicles, you have a shorter, we're going to turn right at the light up ahead here. On most all-wheel drive vehicles, you have a shorter axle on one side than the other. Because that axle is shorter, there's more torque going to that tire, which means when it's slippery, you're going to have more power going to that tire. It'll tend to pull the car in that direction. That's
Okay.
called torque steer. Subaru's axles are the same length, so you have the same amount of power. In slippery conditions, it doesn't tend to pull the car in one direction or another. It makes it a whole lot easier to get up a hill.
Okay, makes sense.
At the next stoplight, we're going to turn right, and this will be the freeway portion of our test drive.
Okay. And then so when I'm looking at the wheel, what are all the controls on the left here?
I'm not going to explain all of those right away because you're driving and you're getting used to the car.
Okay.
But we will operate the cruise control system.
And that's on the
those are going to be
right
the
hand?
ones on the right hand side. The left is mostly to change radio settings.
Okay.
So the all-wheel drive, the cruise control is already on. In order to set the cruise control, then that center lever, just push it down once. And you can use that then to adjust what your speed is. And then the two buttons to the left of that will adjust the following distance to the vehicle in front of you. So go ahead and keep it where it is here. You notice a little bit of tugging of the steering wheel?
Yeah.
That's the lane centering feature. So with the two cameras, it's looking at, as you're in the cruise control, you're looking at both lines at the same time, and it's keeping you centered between those lines. So even if you move a little bit, it's going to keep you centered there. And in fact, if you were to, wow, that guy kind of raced past. If you were to go around a gentle curve, it'll follow around that curve.
Oh,
as
the
well.
wheel will do that.
Yes, I'll be able to demonstrate that up ahead as well.
And looking in the center here, I can see a car in front of me.
Yes. When you see the little car on there, that indicates that the system is seeing that car.
Oh, okay, recognizes.
Right.
Okay.
Now another aspect, you're going to be able to test this in just a couple of minutes. Another aspect of the all-wheel drive system, remember I said that you have the same amount of power going front to back?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, there are times when front-wheel drive is better, when rear-wheel drive is better.
Yeah.
Because it's the same both, when you're cornering, it feels like you're cornering in a front-wheel drive car and a rear-wheel drive car at the same time. We're going to be able to test that in just a couple of minutes here. But for now, I want you to let go of the steering wheel with this curve coming down. Go ahead, let go completely. Notice how it follows around that curve?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that lane centering feature. Now, it won't let you do that for a very long time, about 12 seconds is it, before it starts reminding you to put your hands on the steering wheel.
Right.
But on long drives, it's helpful if you're getting bored and not paying attention. I'm going to go ahead and turn off all of the cruise control. We're going to take this exit up ahead. Take a right at the stop sign at the end of the ramp. This will be the country road portion of our test drive today. Now, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to have you do something that most people are not used to doing. We're going to come up to a curve, and it's a pretty tight left-hand curve. When we get to that, I'm going to have you slow way down before you get to it, and then accelerate all the way through. And what you're going to notice is the more acceleration you give it, the more it feels like the car is being pulled into that curve.
Yeah.
That's one of the unique aspects of Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system. Helps it hold the road much more effectively. So this is the curve up ahead here. Go ahead and slow down, and I mean way down to about 15, maybe 20 miles an hour or so. All right, now hit the gas, and just keep accelerating all the way around. A little more, a little more, a little more. All right. Now, do you feel how it pulls you into that curve? That's what I'm talking about. Imagine you're driving during a snowstorm and you go around a curve, how much better the car is going to maintain the road.
Yeah.
It's not waiting for the wheels to start slipping and then engaging the all-wheel drive system. It's already there and it's already active.
Okay.
And anytime if you'd like, you can yell out "wee" as well. got accessories, options, creature comforts that it comes with.
Makes sense. And then how does the map system work? Does it use Wi-Fi or satellite?
There's actually two map systems that you have with it. The one that's built into the car is satellite navigation.
Okay.
So the map data is preloaded into the car's computer, and then it uses a satellite receiver to triangulate where it is. So you always know exactly where you are as long as the car can see satellite, see the sky. The other one is through the Android Auto / Apple CarPlay system.
Yeah.
That is, we're going to turn right at this light up ahead here.
Turn right.
Yes. That is, the maps are continually updated, so you don't have to worry about updating the maps every couple of years. However, it's not, if you're out in the, if you're out in the boonies, it's not necessarily as accurate because it needs to have a data connection in order to figure out exactly where it is.
Right.
So they're both good, but they both have limitations.
Right.
It's nice to have both of them in the same system, then you can choose which one you prefer.
Right.
Some of the lower level models are going to vary that. Some of them don't have the satellite navigation built into it, for example.
Yeah.
Now up ahead at the stoplight, we're going to turn right to get back onto the highway.
And something that I noticed is there's an M next to the drive.
Yes.
On the shifter. What does that mean?
That's for manual mode.
Okay.
Behind the steering wheel, you notice you have the little paddles?
Yeah, right here.
Paddle shifters, and so you can switch it into manual mode and shift only using those paddles rather than having the car's computer decide where you're going to be shifting.
Okay.
I use that a lot myself, not so much putting it into manual mode, but because the paddles can override what the computer has already decided. If I see traffic slowing down in front of me, but we want to move one lane to the left here when you get a chance. If I see traffic slowing down in front of me, then I'll downshift a notch or two just to allow the engine to help slow the car so I can maintain a safe distance and still have better control.
Okay. And so I do a lot of camping. What's the benefit of going with a Forester over something like a RAV4?
Well, the Forester is going to have a better all-wheel drive system first and foremost, but they're both very, very good cars. In my opinion, the best car doesn't exist. Every car made today is a great car. It's just a matter of which one fits you the best.
Okay.
There are some that they tend to have better service histories, better maintenance histories, tend to last longer, but there's others that tend to have maybe better power or a different appearance and so on. All of them are good cars. My job is just to help you match the best car to you.
Right. Okay.
So to answer your question, if you do a lot of camping, well, a RAV4 and a Forester are about the same size. They're about the same price. They both come from manufacturers that have, right here we're going to move one lane to the right. They both come from manufacturers that have stellar reputations for service and longevity and quality. So it's really hard to tell you that one is truly better than the other. It's a matter of which one fits you best.
Okay.
We're going to follow the curve here to the right.
And so that car was just in my blind spot and this lit up. Do these have those blind spot detectors?
This one does.
Okay.
Not every Forester does, but this one does have the blind spot detection. We'll stay in the left lane up ahead here, and at the end of the road, we're going to turn left.
Yeah, it's super smooth. I do like that adaptive cruise control.
And some of the changes that they've made to it have made it a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
Starting with the 2020 model here, they switched to the Subaru Global Platform.
Yep.
It's stronger steel, but also more flexible. So it's better to protect you in a crash, but it's also better maneuverability if you have a sudden turn that you have to make.
And then, so with the eyesight system, is there any times where it won't engage?
If it can't see, it's difficult to say that. With the eyesight, the forward braking, as long as the cameras can see in front, then it's going to work. So you want to make sure that you keep the windshield clear. One of the products that we offer is called Diamond Fusion that does a phenomenal job of keeping the windshield clear and free of debris and snow and rain and things along those lines. I absolutely recommend getting that because it is a safer way to drive. If it's a snowy day and the system can't see the defining lines on the side of the road, it also will not operate properly. So the left to right adjustment won't happen. Of course, you shouldn't have cruise control on during a blizzard anyhow.
And then, so when I was fully stopped at the light there, it sounded almost like the engine stopped.
It did. That's the auto start stops feature. So once the engine has reached its main operating temperature, it'll automatically shut the engine off if you come to a complete stop for more than about a second or so. That will save fuel and also reduce emissions, so it makes the car a little bit better for the environment.
And then with that, if I was in like stop or start traffic, is there a way to disengage that or turn that off?
There is. There is a button down on the lower left-hand side where you can turn that feature off. We're going to take the second entrance coming in here, and I'll have you do a little bit of my job and park the car back where we started.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the turning radius. I didn't think that it could do that.
I was surprised the first time I drove Subarus, especially the first time I drove one during a snowstorm. The car that I used to have, I started with a rear-wheel drive only car and then switched to the same model, but an all-wheel drive version. And I thought, wow, this makes a world of difference. The first time I drove a Subaru during a snowstorm, I thought, I don't have all-wheel drive. I don't have anything close. This is true all-wheel drive. All right. So what did you think?
I thought it was amazing. I really liked, I could actually tell that reverse automatic braking, it was alerting me, and the cross-traffic alert. That was really impressive.
Excellent. Well, why don't we head back inside? We can put some numbers together and see if it would work out for you. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great to me.